Hey everyone, Colin from Gaming Through the Ages here. This week, I wanted to go back to another game from my childhood, but one that I could not really beat, and that was Advance Wars. When I played this, I thought that it had a charming art style, but was really difficult, that it made me just go through these maps in a grueling kind of way. I wanted to see if playing this now, as an adult, would make it easier and more fun. I'm happy to say that that is the case. Let's get into it. The campaign presents a very simple story. You are a strategist in the Orange Star Army. You're under attack from Blue Moon, and you run into the armies of Green Earth and Yellow Comet throughout your war. Apparently, they believe that Orange Star is the aggressor, because they've been attacked by an army led by a guy who looks just like Andy, one of the Orange Star generals. As you play through the campaign, it's revealed that a mysterious fifth faction, the Black Hole, has secret technology that lets them clone commanders, and they're the ones behind everything. Realizing this, all of the nations join together to take down Black Hole, and the day is saved. The story is really a vehicle to get the player to go through different maps and challenges. It has no depth or meat whatsoever. But, as is common in games like this, I am much easier on stories that exist in games where it is clear that the story does not matter, and I'm harder on games that have bad stories but take their story seriously. Since this story is not meant to be good, it's serviceable enough to give the player a beginning, middle, and end point. It provides the player with a goal to strive for and an end state. The game plays like your typical grid-based strategy game. Each unit can move a certain amount of squares per turn, and has a range of attack. Advance Wars differs from Intelligent Systems' other flagship strategy series, Fire Emblem, in two respects. Number one, it is not an RPG. And therefore, number two, units are disposable. Each unit, be it an infantry, a tank, or a helicopter, is just that. One instance of that type of unit. Each one is identical to the other. Rather than being a tactician guiding a ragtag group of fighters through an epic story, you're a military general fighting on a modern battlefield. The goal of each map will differ depending on the chapter, but there are some common features to go over. First is the type of structures you'll find on the map. The most important is your command center, because if this gets taken, you lose the match. The same is true for your opponent as well. The second type of structure is a city. For each city you possess, you will earn $1,000 per turn. In addition, if you park your unit on a city, it will heal for a certain amount the next turn. The third type of structure are bases, harbors, and airports. Here, you can spend your money to construct different units. Ground-based units are built in bases, sea-based units are built in harbors, and air-based units are built in airports. While all units are useful in combat, we should note that only foot soldiers can capture structures. Ultimately, what this means is that for the majority of missions, each battle requires a plan centered around cities and bases. This is different from Fire Emblem, where you might send in your best units to just deal with a group of enemies and progressively work through a map without thought for how the entirety of the battle will go. In Advance Wars, you need to decide what sub-objectives you're going to go for in order to maximize your own advantage and lessen your opponent's. This is because the enemy obeys the same rules as you. They earn money per turn. Their units can heal at cities and bases, and they have to buy their units. As a consequence, letting them capture too many more cities than you can put you at a massive disadvantage, as they can simply outspend you. But if you get the drop on them, you can increase your own income while cutting theirs down. This type of gameplay, to the uninitiated, like I used to be, can create a type of tug-of-war gameplay, where each side trades cities and units until a victor is decided. As I played through, I realized that that is only true
if you played this game as if it were a Fire Emblem game instead of as an Advance Wars game.
I'm not trying to say that Fire Emblem doesn't require strategy. It clearly does. But the kind of strategy that Fire Emblem has you go through is different from Advance Wars. In Fire Emblem, you're thinking about building up your units over different maps. You're thinking about localized battles, and then you go through a map slowly. Whereas with Advance Wars, you're really thinking about the entirety of the map and the battle at once. It's more tactical in that way.
Let me show you this battle here to demonstrate what I mean. This match has as its victory requirements that you capture a certain amount of structures. My first go-around, I sent my units to the right and to the south, allowing the AI to capture the 4 cities in the island in the middle. That was dumb. While I was able to isolate his foot soldiers on the island by killing his naval units, which he was unable to replace, those 4 cities gave him $4,000 every turn to spend on units that would kill me. I managed to fight him down to a standstill over a singular drawbridge, where we spent upwards of 70 turns trading artillery fire and tank charges, but it became evident to me that his pecuniary advantage prevented me from being able to safely make it across the bridge. The best I could do was to make the match impossible for him to win, but there was no way I was going to win myself. My second attempt, I sent 2 foot soldiers down to the island in the center and gave up possession of the right. With the income from these cities, I could capture the south much faster and make it across the bridge before my opponent could effectively mobilize his forces. His attempts were less effective because 1, I got there much faster than the last attempt, and 2, he didn't have nearly the amount of money that he did before. From there, I could swing through and achieve victory. This wasn't tug of war, it was domination, and it's because I chose the right strategy. The only time where I felt like the map design essentially required a slow, grueling process was the last map. This fight took me almost 3 hours to grind through. The map is set up so that you are in control of 3 separate factions, all working together to fight against the Black Hole. Black Hole has an absolute buttload of troops, bases, airports, and cities, so he's rolling in the dough, and that dough becomes tanks and airplanes. Meanwhile, you have less bases and cities. They are split across all 3 factions, and each faction takes its own turn, meaning that sometimes you can't make the best strategic choice just based on how you can't move troops in the order that you'd want. To top it off, we have to talk about CO powers. CO powers are special abilities that each commander has. Andy, for instance, can heal 2 units of health off of each unit every time his bar gets full. These are small advantages which can be used at the right time for a strategic push, but they almost never turn the tide of battle. The CO power of the Black Hole Commander is a gigantic meteor that will hone in on a group of units and reduce their health to 2. On the one hand, I get it. This is the final boss. His CO power is an extra challenge. I can't help but feel like it was just too much, though, given that the map took me 3 hours to beat. And a lot of that was because just as I was gaining the advantage, a meteor would come and turn the tide against me. But with enough perseverance and with strategic choices that centered around gaining and maintaining control of certain structures, I prevailed and finished the campaign. I know that a lot of you will tell me that the campaign is only the start, and you're right. The game has a robust War Room feature where you can earn coins to buy new maps. This feature also allows you to play as the COs from the other nations, not just that of Orange Star. However, I only spend time doing the campaign. If Advance Wars was the only Advance War game out there, this would be an amazing feature. It'd be an even more amazing feature if you just wanted to keep playing Advance Wars because the campaign is basically just a bunch of maps strung together anyway. But I'm not that kind of player. To me, finishing the campaign was perfectly satisfying, and I felt ready to move on to other games. If I want to play more Advance Wars, and I do, then I would just simply go and pick up the next Advance War game, and I'd play that. I praise the game for having the War Mode feature, which drastically increases the amount of gameplay available, but I didn't feel it necessary to touch it for this review.
Overall, guys, I have to say, Advance Wars is a great time. I'm a little bit disappointed that Nintendo is ending up delaying their Advance Wars 1 and 2 Boot Camp Edition. That's what I initially wanted to review for the channel this December, but now I got the chance to go back to the GBA original. I'm not sure when I'm going to play Advance Wars 2 Black Hole Rising, but I do plan on doing so. But also, beating this game is a little bit of a milestone for me. It's the first turn-based strategy game I've beaten that's not named Fire Emblem. Makes me kind of want to explore the rest of the genre a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? We'll see what videos come up in the future. But for now, guys, if you like this review, please go ahead, give me a like, give me a comment, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again next week for more content from gaming through the ages. Have a great day, everyone.